Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my 6-foot 84-gallon aquarium serving as a community display tank featuring schooling fish like those scissortail rasboras, and I also have some roseline sharks. There's 3 of them, 3 different sizes. That's the big one, small one, medium one. I intend to get some more of those. I have a bigger group. I think we'll see some more schooling action from them. And then we have some rummy nose tetras. I have 5 tiny ones and a couple bigger ones here. So it is kind of cool seeing the little tiny fish schooling in their own little group, and then the bigger fish in the pack here. So this tank has hardscape is mopani wood and dragonstone. Not a whole lot of plants, just enough. If I add more, it won't be a lot more. But I do want to try to keep this not too jungle-like and bushy like some of my other community tanks. I want to try to keep it a good open swimming space for the schooling fish. And there's a pearl gourami right there. So, and there's swordtails in here also. But this tank is missing a few things. I mean, it's coming along. I've been gradually adding new things, new fish and plants. So what it is still missing would be shrimp. So I'm about to do some water changes on other tanks. I'm going to gather up some Neocaridina shrimp. And I'm also going to move in a Siamese algae eater. I am noticing a little bit of blackbeard algae on the edges of this Java fern windowlive plant there. So yeah, I'm gonna go do a water change, start with a water change on one of my 10 gallons and gather up some shrimp and the Siamese algae. Oh yeah. And of course we have panda garras in here. There's 6 of those little guys. Alright. So here's a 10-gallon tank. This mainly guppy and endler hybrids. And this tank has 2 Siamese algae eaters, one here and one there. So I'm going to take the bigger one to move to the 84-gallon tank. And there's there's amano shrimp in here, but there's also Neocaridina shrimp. While I do the water change, if I can gather up some shrimp, I'll grab those, but for sure I'm going to grab this Siamese algae eater. Alright, stand by. Alright, we got the Siamese algae eater, and while I was at it, I managed to gather 7 Neocaridina shrimp. So, not particularly colorful Neocaridina shrimp. These would probably be, well, most assuredly be culls from anybody else's standards, but a couple of them that are red, though not bright. Well, actually maybe, let's see. 3 of them that are reddish, one of them that's a little bluish, as the Siamese algae eater just plows into them, and the others are kind of pale brownish, colorless. Yeah, that's what's going to start when I have moved Neocaridina shrimp to other tanks to start colonies. It would be about this many, around 6 to 8 or so. And as long as there's at least one male and at least one female, they should be able to reproduce. Though in here, as far as plant cover, there isn't much for them to take refuge in and hide their babies, but still, I think they will like all the dragonstone in here, because there is holes and crevices, and I think they'll be able to hide in those. Yeah, so I'm going to let them acclimate in here, and I will release them shortly. Stand by. Alright, so yeah, I've got a mix of fruit flavored shrimp here and the Siamese algae eater. Alright, so I'm going to release them, and upon doing so, who knows if we'll be able to keep track of the shrimp as they will scatter, but we'll see if we can build up a population in here, starting with 7. Alright, I'm gonna let them go, and then we'll try to look at them inside the tank. Alright, so there's one of the Neocaridina shrimp on this piney wood here. And who knows if I'll be able to find any others. Let's see where the Siamese algae eater is. There it is. So I think once it gets used to it, it'll pretty much join the pack as the schooling fish go. Swim around in the tank. Alright. So hopefully adding the Siamese algae eater now will feed on the algae that's developing there and prevent any more from spreading. Just from experience with Siamese algae eaters in my other tanks, they do an awesome job. Hair algae, blackbeard algae, staghorn algae, all 3 of those they have cleaned them up every time I've put them to the task. Alright, so what's next going in this tank? What this tank needs is corydoras. So the plan was stir-by corydoras. I got 8 from Aquahuna. If you've seen my previous videos, if you've following this fish keeping channel, you know that I got 8 corydoras from Aquahuna, 8 stir-by corydoras. None of them survived. They all died before the quarantine period ended, and most recently I got some other corydoras in my quarantine tank, so let's check that out. So here's my quarantine tank. 6 days ago I got 7 of these emerald green corydoras. It's kind of hard to see them through the algae on the glass, but since I set this tank up when I moved about 7 months ago, I just let the algae build up so that when I do get autosynclus, which I got the same day as those, so they could graze on it while they're in quarantine. And all the autosynclus have lasted so far. I did lose 1 of the 7 emerald green corydoras that I got, and I got 3. I'm gonna have 3 left, 3 Julie corydoras left. I got 6 that day. Lost half of them, not having good luck with corydoras. And that same day I got 4 more scissortail rasboras, so those will join the ones that are in my 84-gallon tank. But I'm not certain yet if I'm going to move those emerald corydoras in the 6-foot tank, or if I'm gonna. I might take another shot at stir-by corydoras if I can get some. When I was around getting these fish last week, the Petco that I went to and the 2 PetSmarts did not have stir-by corydoras, but those would be my first choice. I want to try one more time to find some, but if not, it will end up being the bronze corydoras going in there. Alright, let's go back to the 6-foot tank. Alright, so one last look at this tonight. So cool watching the scissortail rasbora schooling in here. And as I get more rummy nose tetras, I want to get 20 or so of those that will look cool in here. And as I mentioned, I want to get more of the roseline sharks. And then adding the corydoras in here when that happens. Seeing a bunch of those scurrying around will look awesome when I do see these. I mean, these panda garras are tiny. There's 6 of them in here, and they'll be still have plenty of growing to do, but watching them in the mix, they're fun to watch. Yeah, this tank is coming along really good and looking awesome. As for the swordtails, I did show a couple days after I added the swordtails, one of the females had some babies. I saw a few. I haven't seen any since. So I don't know if any have survived then. But yeah. It's an awesome mix of community fish. Alright. Well, that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.